Well, welcome everyone. That was quite a set of fights we had here for Brisbane. Fabulous opportunity for us to come to Queensland for the first time, come to Brisbane for the first time, Queensland for the second time. I want to first thank the Brisbane Entertainment Centre, fabulous venue to work with, and congratulate our fighters on putting on just an incredible show. For your information, the gate today was $1,785,000. The attendance was 11,393. Fight of the night, this is going to come as a big surprise. The heavyweights, that was just a remarkable fight of the night. They'll be getting $50,000 each, and it's important for you to know, even though it was a majority draw, both Silva and Hunt will be getting their win bonuses as well. Knockout of the night was Shogun. Thank you. And once again, can't thank everybody enough for supporting our sport, supporting our athletes, and supporting the UFC Fight Night here in Brisbane. And I'll open up the floor to questions.
Shogun, you seem particularly happy after the fight. Obviously, a pretty spectacular result. Did you feel people were doubting you going into the fight?
Maurício, você parecia muito feliz, particularmente empolgado depois da luta, comemorando a vitória. Você sentia que de alguma forma as pessoas estavam duvidando de você antes dessa luta?
Não só isso. Eu acho que a gente que luta, acho que a vitória é a nossa maior alegria. Para mim, particularmente, eu acho que a gente fica tantos meses, tantos dias na angústia de treinamento, sofrimento, perder peso. Então, acho que quando a gente vence, acho que é a maior alegria. Então, com certeza, quando eu venço, é uma alegria muito grande. E não a pressão das pessoas, e sim uma pressão que eu me puxo mesmo. Eu sou um cara que me cobro muito, então eu queria essa vitória de qualquer jeito.
Well, not only that. I mean, for us fighters, winning is the biggest reason of joy or happiness we can have, because we endure a lot of suffering through training camp. We give away a lot of stuff we like to, be focused on the training and away from a number of things we like, and cutting weight and all the things we go through. And the victory, the win is the only thing that really makes this all make sense. So it's really a happy moment. And also, I wasn't really feeling pressure only because of what people were saying, but also because of the pressure I put on myself as a professional, as a fighter, to try to perform my best and to keep driving hard. So it was great to come out with the win.
Does a result like this seal your future career at 205, or is it?
Uma vitória como essa determina que você vai continuar a tua carreira no 93 quilos ou indifere?
Não sei, acho que minha carreira, quem cuida da minha carreira é a minha equipe, então todas as decisões que eu tomo vêm deles, então eles vão decidir as decisões, então não depende de mim só. Acho que minha equipe, nós vamos comemorar agora essa vitória e acho que depois disso nós vamos conversar sobre tudo que tem que conversar, mas essas coisas que decidem a minha equipe, não só eu.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, those kind of decisions are made with my team, and then it's up to my team to really decide what's next. I wouldn't rule anything out at this moment, but rightfully so, we just want to celebrate. We're going to now celebrate the win, and then later on we'll talk, and it's up to my team to make those decisions, and whatever we decide, we'll move on with that.
Question for Soa. So after the criticisms of your first fight, is this vindication for you?
Well, it's well. First of all, I want to thank Dana White and Joe Silva for giving me a chance in the UFC, and that first fight against Nikita, I hurt my rib a week before, and kind of I popped it in the first round, and I couldn't breathe, and it's just hard. So, I wanted to go out today, and I respect Pat as as an athlete and as a sportsman. He's a really dangerous fighter. So if I was really wary about his kicks and everything. But I played my game, and hopefully I made a statement today.
Tom, were you happy with the result of a draw in the main event? Incredible main event, but how did you score the fight?
I was very happy. I mean, it's really tough. How do you choose one of those guys to actually lose that fight? And if you take a look at the scoring, the way it came off, two of the judges had Silva ahead after 4 rounds, 3-1, and one was had tied. And then in the final round, those 2 judges scored a 10-8. So that ends up being a majority draw, and I think it's the right call. It was a fabulous fight. Certainly the best heavyweight fight I've ever seen, and that's what you're hearing around Twitter from, like Dana's, said that as well. And you know what? It was a terrific opportunity, I think, for 2 guys to show, great heart. I mean, those 2 guys are training partners, they're friends, but they put on an incredible show, showed great heart, and what a great way to leave almost 12,000 people happy when they walked out of the BEC today.
In round 5, the Mark Hunt seemed to have the momentum, and the referee, Steve Percival, called the doctor in the octagon. Did you agree with that?
You know what? Anytime the referee wants to bring a doctor in to look at something like that, I have no problems with that. As you well know, Brett, first and foremost, health and safety of the fighters is our priority. And at that stage, that was their opinion, and you got to respect that. In the end, it's all about making sure that the fighters are prepared to protect themselves, and that was the call he made, and I'm glad he did.
Question for Soa. This was probably the biggest win of your career. It's a victory you really needed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I got a message this morning from my daughter, like they want some Christmas presents. I was like, oh damn, I have to win, get my win. So, but it is a big win for me, and especially against Pat Barry. And but I'm just happy to be representing Australia and putting Australia on the map and putting Perth on the map as where I'm from. So, it's a privilege to be with a great organisation like UFC. So.
Do you have anyone in mind for your next opponent?
I'll just leave it to my management team, Paradigm, and see what Audi and Say have to sort out. So at the moment, I'll just go and enjoy a bit of Christmas, and we'll go from there.
Question for Justin. Congratulations on your victory. You were dominating the fight, but it was a questionable stoppage by Steve Percival. So what did you get out of that stoppage?
Well, it's my job to go in there and, dominate the fight, which obviously I was doing that. I got him in a bad position, and I'd already dropped him once. So, the referee's job is to make sure to keep the guy safe, and he felt that, he felt he was in danger. If you wanted me to punch him a few more times in the head, I could have done that for you too. So, I thought, I'll just do my job.
Question for Tom. Can you just talk about what's next for Australia in terms of UFC events?
Sure. The 2014 calendar hasn't been finalized, but we have every intention of coming back to Australia in 2014, probably at the back end of the year. One of the things that we want to do in time is to bring more than just one event to Australia. We've got great fans here, we've got great athletes here, we've got great business partners here, and we really want to give the sport a chance to properly grow the way it should be. And as you probably know, as I'm sure you do, we're held back in 2 states. The state that Soa's from, WA and Victoria, missed out on some great opportunities that were highlighted here in Brisbane. We'd like in time to be able to be here 3-4 times a year. In order to do that, we have to make sure that we've got our sport properly regulated, properly sanctioned, and allowed in a safe environment for the fighters, which is the octagon, in all states. So that's our plan. It'll take some time, but we'll be there.
Do you think next year's event will be in Sydney or back here? Or?
We haven't decided. It could be in Sydney. With any luck, if we're able to get things done in Melbourne, at least in Victoria, we'd like to go to Melbourne as well. There was some encouraging news over the weekend in terms of some decisions made to endorse a new policy at the Liberal Convention that resulted in approximately 75% of the delegates voting in favor of lifting the ban of the octagon. Of course, unfortunately, that's not binding on the government. But if something were to happen in the next 2-3 months, we could come to Melbourne, and we would probably go to Etihad and And I bet there's some people on this card. I mean, wouldn't it be great to have the rematch of the heavyweight title at Etihad? That'd be a good show.
Shogun, congratulations on the win. You fought in August, and now you fought again in December. I'm wondering, do you want to stay active and fight in the next 3 or 4 months, or would you like a little break? And if you do want to fight more recently, do you have anyone in mind? Is there someone you think that makes sense for you next?
Maurício, você lutou em agosto e já lutou agora de novo em dezembro. Você quer lutar em breve, gostaria de se manter ativo assim, ou você preferia ter um tempo agora para descansar? E caso você queira se manter ativo, tem alguém em mente que você gostaria de enfrentar?
Não, agora eu quero descansar um pouco, mas se você quiser que eu lute logo, eu luto logo. Eu vim, na verdade, de uma preparação pro Minotauro, daí ele machucou, daí eu tive a luta com o Sony. Então eu tô vindo de 3 camps praticamente seguidos. Então eu quero uma descansada agora e eu não tenho assim nenhuma vontade de lutar com ninguém. Acho que quem vai quiser também eu luto e não tem problema nenhum.
Well, actually, right now I would like to take a little break, but obviously if the UFC needs me and wants me to fight again, I'll fight again soon. But I'm coming actually from 3 fight camps, training camps in a row, because I had a training camp for Little Nog and the fight didn't happen. And then I had the training camp for Sonnen and now the training camp for Tehuna. So I have been training a full stop for like several months. So I would enjoy a break now, but I really don't have anyone in mind regarding who would I fight next. I mean, it's up to the UFC. Whoever the UFC wants me to fight, I'll fight. Doesn't matter.
Your fight with Dan Henderson is widely considered probably the greatest fight of all time in MMA history. I'm just wondering if you had a chance to watch the whole Hunt versus Bigfoot fight and just give your impressions on that.
A tua luta com o Dan Henderson é considerada por muita gente uma das melhores lutas de todos os tempos e tal. Ele estava imaginando se você chegou a assistir a luta do Hunt com o Pezão agora, né, inteira, e se você assistiu, o que você achou da luta?
Assisti, acho que foi uma luta muito emocionante. É muito difícil uma luta peso pesado até o final, né? Então foram 2 guerreiros e eles merecem todo o respeito e com certeza vai ficar na história essa luta.
Yeah, I watched the fight back in the locker room, and it's very rare for such a heavyweight fight to go all the way to the end, you know, because guys are heavy hitters and all that. So it was an amazing fight. I think they both deserve all the respect from everybody, and certainly this fight will go down in history as one of the best ever.
Here's a quick question for Tom. Do you know the status of Bigfoot and Mark? Are they going to the hospital immediately? Are they backstage? Are they coming out?
No, they won't be coming out. They've headed to the hospital. You know, precautionary measures. We actually have eight of our fighters have gone to the hospital for various and sundry things. The majority of which is to make sure that everybody's fine. So Mark and Antonio won't be coming to the presser.
Question for Shogun. Can you point to something or a series of things that really made the difference in this fight camp? That led to this result? Is there anything that you can attribute to your success tonight?
Maurício, você tem alguma coisa ou algumas coisas que você poderia apontar que fizeram a diferença nesse teu campo de treinamento para essa luta e que te ajudaram a esse resultado que você teve hoje à noite? Algo que, enfim, que tenha sido feito, que tenha te ajudado?
Eu acho que o camp que eu fiz, com certeza foi a grande vitória que eu tive, né? Acho que eu fiquei em São Paulo praticamente 3 meses, longe da minha família, da minha esposa grávida, focado. Fiquei eu e o Maza só junto com a equipe de São Paulo e realmente uma equipe me ajudou muito. Então, com certeza, essa equipe do Demian Maia tem todos os méritos para essa vitória.
Well, I think the biggest difference for this fight was the training camp that I had for the fight. This was my biggest win for this fight, having this training camp. It wasn't easy. I stayed in São Paulo for 3 months, away from my family, away from my wife who's pregnant. Wasn't really easy times. Along with my friend Maza, who stayed with me and with the team in São Paulo. And it was great. I mean, the Demian Maia's team who helped me train for this fight were really incredible, and this win is really theirs. They helped me a lot.
You mentioned prior to the fight that you think that your fighting style has probably taken years off of your life. Was it nice to have a short night of work tonight?
Você mencionou em alguma entrevista antes da luta que talvez as guerras que você teve, as lutas duras que você teve, tiraram alguns anos aí da sua vida. Foi bom ter uma luta curta, rápida dessa vez?
Como assim tirar alguns anos da minha vida?
Porque foram muito desgastantes as lutas, então...
Acho que com certeza quando é assim é melhor, se machuca menos. Mas o meu estilo de luta é um estilo que geralmente machuca, né? Que eu vou pra cima, então quando acontece isso fica todo mundo feliz. Minha mãe, minha mulher, todo mundo fica feliz.
Well, it's certainly much better when you have a short fight and you win and you don't get injured or something like that. But my style of fighting is actually a very aggressive style of fighting. I always pursue the fight, so that leads sometimes to some wars and some battles. But certainly when you get a quick win and you win like that, I mean, my mom gets happy, my wife gets happy, and everybody at home gets happier, so I'll take it.
Tom, I know you've spoken about it a little bit in the past, but you had 3 Kiwi-born fighters on the card tonight. Have you got any update, or can you tell us if a New Zealand show will be in the pipeline in the future?
New Zealand will be in the pipeline in the future for sure. Had some great conversations with our broadcast partners in New Zealand, Sky TV. I was there a couple of months ago, visited the Vector Arena in Auckland. It'd be a perfect spot for us to have our first ever New Zealand fight. If I was a betting man, I'd say it's probably going to be 2015. We'd like nothing better than to have a chance for a bunch of the Kiwi fighters to fight on their homeland.
And just on that, what are some of the challenges that you do face, or what are some of the logistic things you have to get over the line for the show to sort of take place?
Well, it's one of the things you have to get over the line is that there are literally hundreds of cities and tens of countries around the world that want to host UFC events, and we've got to make sure that we take care of as many as possible. New Zealand has always been on our radar. It takes time to sort of make sure that you've got all the business relationships in place, that you find the right venue, and that it fits in with the entire schedule when you're trying to pull together 40, 50 events around the world. It's not the easiest job. So, but absolutely, is it on our radar? Completely, and I'm thinking 2015 will happen.
Justin, you seem to do a good job winning over the crowd. Your post-fight speech, you won over the crowd, you stumped for a fight in Atlanta. I'm wondering, do you have anyone in mind in particular that you'd like to fight?
You know, man, this has just been a crazy, awesome experience for me. This has been a lifelong dream, and I really have been taking in everything that I've been seeing around me. Whether I'm getting booed or whether everybody's cheering, it's all part of the experience. And I'm really hoping that after my performance tonight that they will, put me on the Atlanta card, or as soon as possible. So I'm healthy. I'm getting right back to training, and I don't have an opponent in mind. I understand I'm new to the UFC and I've got to work my way up, but I'm going to get in there, and whoever Sean Shelby and my managers decide is the next fight for me, that's the one I'm going to take, because I'm the best in the world, and that's what I'm here to prove.
When you first got this fight on the radar, and they told you you're going to have to travel to Australia and fight a guy in his home soil, what were your first thoughts about that?
I mean, nothing but excitement. This whole thing has been a new experience for me, and I've always wanted to come to Australia, so to continue the new experiences and all the new things and emotions that I'm feeling, there's nothing else that could compare to this, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now hopefully I can go back in front of all my hometown people and whoever can come out and support me in my own country, and that'd be great too. But no matter where they want me, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to put on a show.
Tom, there was a bit of history tonight as well with the first ever female fight in Australia. Just want your thoughts on that fight.
Anytime the girls fight, it's a terrific fight, and I think that it wasn't this time last year that we really only started bringing the women into the UFC. I think they did a terrific job. I think a lot of people scored that fight the other way for the American, but you know what? In the end, I think they showed great heart. They showed great skill. They showed what a UFC fighter is all about, and I was proud of them.
Wasn't a great night for Australian fighters, with Soa only being the only winner, Australian-based fighter. So Soa, how do you feel about that? And now you're close with Mark Hunt. Did you get a chance to see him directly after his fight?
No, I didn't. You know, I did a bit of my camp with Mark. I flew to New Zealand and yeah, and it was like Mark's it was like an idol to me. As I was growing up, I used to follow him and watch his fights and stuff when he fought in overseas in Japan and stuff. But it's I'm happy to get the win. As I said, I'm over the moon. To be fighting in front of Australia and for everyone cheering you and that. So you just feed off that and today. So.
Tom, you've already mentioned that a lot of the fighters have taken off the hospital, but do you have any reports? Obviously, Parosh took a beating tonight from Beta, but Beta, did he break his hand in the first round, or?
Hard to say. I mean, we won't know until he's had a chance to go to the hospital. He was feeling badly about his hand, so it could have been that, but I really don't have those details.
It was obviously 3 rounds to nil, but interesting there was 2 30-27s on that card. Do you believe there should have been more 10-8 rounds in that fight?
No, listen, I have a huge regard for both Ryan and for Anthony. Anthony's done some yeoman work in this country to promote the sport of mixed martial arts. He's traveled with me across the country, and when we've had to sit down with government officials, and he's represented our sport tremendously well. And if you watch what he did, if you want to see a fighter with heart, that was Anthony, that was AP. But he did a great job. But I didn't spend much time fretting over how it was scored. I mean, clearly Ryan won the fight, and he deserved to win the fight.
Did he set some sort of record for the amount of strikes landed, for and against?
I have not seen that stat. Ryan threw a few.
Dylan Andrews' shoulder looked pretty bad after we thought it was from the takedown, but it ended up being he swung wildly and popped his shoulder out. Have you spoken to him after the fight, and how's he travelling?
I've not spoken with him, but I understand he dislocated his shoulder. Not sure. He's gone to the hospital, and having gone through a shoulder dislocation 7 times myself, it was remarkable that he went a little further.
Tom, Adam Island from MMA Canvas here. My first question is for you, Justin. You're a young guy, and the flyweight division is, while obviously very competitive, it's not incredibly deep. Are you one of those guys that is gunning for that title shot as soon as you can possibly get it, or are you sort of looking to establish yourself there, get a few fights and a few wins before maybe moving in that direction a little bit later?
Oh, well, my goal is get in there and get the title. I'm the best in the world at this. And, but I have people like my management team with Monty Cox, who we're going to sit down and we're going to talk to Sean Shelby and we're going to see what the best move is. I'm in no rush. I'm going to fight whoever's the next best fight and take it one fight at a time. But, I'm going to keep winning. I'm going to keep taking it to guys because I have nothing but confidence and I know that this is where I'm supposed to be,
Cool, thanks. And my next question is for you, Shogun. I want to know, what are your goals at this point? Obviously, you've been at the top for such a very, very long time. You suffered a few setbacks and now a win. Even though you're not really sure what division you'll fight in the immediate future, is the UFC title in either middleweight or light heavyweight still your goal? Still your goal?
Maurício, eu pergunto para você, quais são as suas metas, seus objetivos ainda na tua carreira? Nessa fase, é lógico que é excelente ter uma vitória, mas você tem uma carreira longa, muitas conquistas. O que você almeja agora no futuro? Você mencionou que depende da sua equipe a questão do peso, você ainda não sabe. Você pensa em buscar o título dos pesos médios até 84 quilos, ou você pensa em continuar buscando do 93 quilos? O que passa na tua cabeça como meta?
Não, a princípio eu vou ficar nessa categoria mesmo. Não penso em cinturão. Minha meta agora é vencer a próxima luta. Esse é o meu objetivo, esse é o meu próximo sonho, que eu vou batalhar para isso.
No, I don't think on changing weight classes right now. At first, I will stay at light heavyweight, but I'm not thinking about belt or any belt or title right now. I'm thinking about my next fight and winning my next fight. This is my next dream, my next goal, and is what I'm going to fight hard for and battle for. After that, we'll see where it goes.
Cool. And just one more question for you, Soa. So as a training partner of Mark Hunt, did you, I guess it's hard to expect a fight like that, but I guess, did you expect that they had a guy like Mark had the capacity to go 5 rounds hard like he did today after training with him for such a long time?
Mark's Mark. He, he's been through these wars, and and that's the thing. That's the most dangerous thing when it goes into the later rounds. And he plays possum really well, and he can plod along, and then next thing you know, he'll throw a big left hook, right hand, and then out of nowhere. So, yeah, I mean, training with Mark was, I just want, I know what his punches are like. So, and I knew Pat, wouldn't have hit harder than Mark. So, but I just had to watch for Pat Barry's kicks, because he's got some real dangerous kicks as well. So, but yeah, it was a pretty, that fight was awesome between Mark and so it was a good fight.
So over here, congratulations, mate. You mentioned Perth. You're a proud, born and bred Perth man yourself. The MMA community over there is going through a bit of a tough time since the Octagon was banned. You've been heavily involved. You've had your own gym. Do you have any words, to say to Perth's MMA community, being a representative, any words of encouragement, and do you hope to see the UFC in WA in the near future?
I think it just comes down to education. Tom was over in Perth, and he went to try to sit down with the premier over there. At that time, it was Colin Barnett was going through. They were going through they were going through some stuff over there. So I think once they get more educated, and it's a mainstream event. UFC's the biggest organisation in the world, and it's only getting bigger. It's the fastest growing sport in the world. It's awesome. But at the end of the day, I think they will I think they will overturn it at some stage. But for now, we'll see what happens.
Yep. And speaking to Mark Hunt a couple of days ago, I said, what do you think of Soa, having trained with him? And he said, once that dude gets on top of you, it's over. You're not getting back up. But you showed that against Pat. You took him down, knocked him out. Now, you'll have your doubters like anyone. They might say, Pat's not a grappler, he's a smaller guy. How far do you think your skill set can take you? Your size, your strength, your grappling ability? And where are you aiming?
I mean, I've been doing it for the last 16 years plus. I'm a first degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I'm very confident if I get on top of you, you ain't getting me off. And that's my kind of game plan. But and I've improved, and I've worked on other stuff with my stand-up and that as well. So yeah, I'm just just happy that I won today, and to get, like Shogun said, it's good to get these early ones. So I'm healthy, and I'm still healthy now, and yeah, I'm stoked.
So are you pretty happy to take your next fight when as soon as the UFC asks you? Are you looking for a break? Are you ready to go in the next 3-4 months?
Yeah, if UFC tell me to fight on another show, I'm happy to help in there, because I'm ready to go. Obviously Christmas, have a bit of break for a couple of weeks, and then back into it again. So I'm ready.
Just a quick one for Shogun. Were you aware that Dana said that he wanted to maybe see you retire or go to 185? Were you aware of that at all?
Maurício, você estava ciente, sabendo que o Dana comentou antes da luta que, dependendo do que acontecesse, iria conversar com você para que você se aposentasse ou descesse de peso?
Eu vi os comentários que ele comentou, mas eu não pensei muito nisso para não afetar muito no psicológico da luta, e graças a Deus conseguiu um nocaute, e eu acho que ele gostou, que ele colocou no Twitter dele que foi o nocaute do século, então tá tranquilo.
Yeah, I heard some of the comments, but I tried to not let this get into my head and affect my emotional, psychological state before the fight. I saw that he put on Twitter after the fight that this was like the knockout of the century or something like that, so I think he was happy with my fight tonight.
Tom, after Soa stopped Pat Barry tonight, Pat stumbled into the cage, heard him pull on the cage again, so whose duty of care was it, the referee or Pat Barry's corner to take care of him?
I'm trying to remember if I saw what exactly happened, Brett, when. But I mean, in the end, you know, the referee has a job to do. But I'm not so sure whether his corner could have got in there any more quickly than they did.
Speaking about the cage bans in the two states, it seems like WA are further away than Victoria. Do you have a timeline of when you know, they can be overturned in Victoria? It seems the word is that it's a lot closer than WA.
Yeah, I think Victoria is a lot closer. We've been focusing our efforts there. The previous, I mean, the ban went into effect back in November of 2008. It was a Labour Party policy, and the Labour Party has changed their position on it. The current government just hasn't gotten around to understanding, and from the way I look at it, health and safety of the fighters comes first. But you know, I think Soa said it really, really well. It's a matter of education. It's going to take some time in both states. I think it's probably going to take longer in WA. WA just had an election that happened in March of this year, and just before that election, they decided to implement a ban on the octagon. Made no sense. It's bewildering. But in the end, you know, it is education. You know, we are a very patient, professional, and diligent organization. We're going to never compromise the safety of our athletes. I've been invited to take the UFC there and have these athletes compete in a boxing ring. That would be one of the most stupid things that anybody would ever do. We will never do it. We've told them that. But in the end, we'll get it done there. And it's, you know, I think that you know, an athlete like Soa would like nothing better than to be able to go to the Perth Arena and be able to fight in front of his hometown. And you know what? He deserves that opportunity.
Justin, you said a couple times, I noticed, that you're the best in the world, which is, you might admit, a little bold of a statement for one fight into your UFC career. I guess you have no concern about any backlash for making a statement like that from fans or anybody?
No, not at all. You know, if you believe something in your mind, which I do, it's going to become real. I don't think you should ever sell yourself short. You know, don't put a cap on greatness. My goal, you know, my goals are infinite. I'm going to keep moving up. I'm going to keep improving my skills. I've been doing this my whole life, and I'll never say anything different. And you know, I'm never going to stop.
Okay, we'll take a couple more questions. Do we have any? If we won't, I'll say thank you again to Brisbane, to the state of Queensland, the country of Australia, to our great fighters, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.